Have you ever driven past a house and seen a small sign that says, "Free, take me"? You thought it was just someone's junk, didn't you? Actually, that's how so many homemakers in America save hundreds of dollars every month. The afternoon light in Delaware has a special kind of softness in late spring. It was one of those evenings when time seems to slow down. The air cool, the sky brushed with orange and gold. I was driving slowly around my neighborhood, my old gray minivan humming quietly as I looked out through the open window. The houses passed by like familiar faces. White fences, kids' bikes lying on driveways, a neighbor watering her garden, someone walking their dog. Everything felt peaceful, ordinary, and somehow comforting. As I turned a corner onto Maple Street, something caught my eye. In front of a little blue house stood a small folding table. On it sat a few household items: a blender, a coffee mug with a tiny chip on the rim, a lamp without a shade, and a basket full of old kitchen utensils. Leaning against the table was a piece of cardboard, handwritten in big, uneven letters, "Free." I slowed down. For a second, I thought it must be trash someone hadn't taken out yet. But the items looked perfectly fine, used but clean. A thought passed through my mind. You think that's just someone's old junk? Actually, this is how so many homemakers in America save hundreds of dollars every month. I smiled quietly to myself and kept driving, but that image stayed with me for days. My name is Lucy, and I live right here in Delaware with my husband, Tom, and our two kids, Emily, who's 8, and little Noah, who just turned 5. We're what you might call an ordinary family. Tom works as a mechanic at the local garage, and I work part-time at a daycare center. Between rent, bills, groceries, gas, and school stuff for the kids, we don't have much left at the end of the month. Still, we get by. I've always believed in spending smart, buying only what we need, cooking at home instead of eating out, waiting for sales. But lately, with prices climbing, it's been harder than ever. Last month, our microwave stopped working. It was already old when we got it, but it had served us well. Normally, I would have gone straight to the store or maybe checked Amazon for a deal. But that day, I stopped myself. I thought, there has to be a smarter, cheaper way. And that small thought changed everything. Before that, I used to spend hundreds of dollars a year on little things. A few new dishes here, some kitchen gadgets there, toys for the kids that they'd forget about in a week, storage boxes, mugs, throw pillows. I'd convince myself I needed them. Looking back, I can't believe how much I wasted. I know I'm not the only one. So many moms I know do the same thing, buying and replacing things just because it feels convenient. But once I started paying closer attention, I realized how unnecessary it all was. That's when I decided to explore what other women in our community were doing. And that's what led me to discover something amazing. Today, I tell anyone who'll listen, let's explore 3 ways homemakers across America are getting free items right in their own neighborhoods. The first way is simple, but surprisingly powerful. Joining local sharing groups on platforms like Facebook, Nextdoor, or FreeCycle. There's a movement called the Buy Nothing Project, where people give away things they no longer need, absolutely free. No money, no trade, just kindness and community. I joined my local Buy Nothing, Delaware Facebook group last year. At first, I just scrolled through posts out of curiosity, people giving away everything from clothes and toys to kitchen tools and small furniture. It felt strange. Could it really be this easy? One evening, after putting the kids to bed, I decided to give it a try. Tom was watching the news, and I had just finished cleaning up the kitchen. My hands still smelled faintly of dish soap when I sat down at the table with my phone. I typed out my first post. Hi neighbors. If anyone happens to have an extra rice cooker they're not using, I'd be so grateful to give it a new home. Thank you in advance. Then I hit post and waited. 2 days later, I got a message from a woman named Laura who lived just 3 streets over. She wrote, "Hey Lucy, I actually have a spare rice cooker that's still in great condition. You're welcome to come pick it up anytime this week." I remember reading that message over and over, hardly believing it. That weekend, I drove to her house. Laura met me at the door with a smile and handed me a white rice cooker that looked almost new. "I got a new one for Christmas," she said. "This one works perfectly fine. I just don't need 2. We stood there chatting for a bit about our kids, the neighborhood, and how fast time flies. That rice cooker was the first free item I ever received. And honestly, it wasn't just about the object. It was about the feeling, knowing that someone out there cared enough to share. That night, as I made dinner, I couldn't stop smiling. The second way I discovered free treasures was through swap day events. These are community gatherings where people bring things they no longer need, clothes, toys, household items, and exchange them for something else. No money involved, just sharing and recycling. Our neighborhood association hosts one every few months. The first time I went, I brought a bag of outgrown kids' clothes, tiny jeans and shirts that used to fit Noah, a few pairs of sneakers Emily had worn just once. When I arrived, there were tables lined up in the community park, each one neatly organized. Kitchenware, books, clothes, toys, small appliances. People chatted happily, holding items up and laughing as they swapped stories along with their stuff. I remember setting my bag down on the children's clothing table. Then I wandered around. That's when I saw it. A shiny coffee maker, almost new, sitting alone on a corner table. I picked it up and checked the plug. It was clean, barely used. A woman nearby noticed me looking and smiled. "You can take it," she said. "We upgraded to a bigger one last month. It still works great." "Really? Are you sure?" "Of course. That's what we're here for. Give and take." I walked back home with that coffee maker tucked carefully in a reusable bag, feeling like I'd just won a small lottery. When I showed it to Tom, he raised his eyebrows. "You got this for free?" "Yep," I said proudly. "From the swap day." He chuckled. "Guess I can't complain if it makes good coffee." And it did. Now, every morning when I brew our coffee, I think of that sunny day in the park, surrounded by friendly faces, laughter, and the simple joy of sharing. The third way I found free items, and maybe my favorite, is through community fridges and local donation spots. Across Delaware, many churches, libraries, and even small parks have set up spaces where people can leave things for others to take. No forms, no questions, no judgment. It started with a visit to our local library. One afternoon, while taking Emily to pick out new books, I noticed a small wooden shelf near the entrance with a handwritten sign, "Free Pantry. Take what you need, leave what you can." On the shelves were canned foods, diapers, shampoo, toothpaste, even a few baby bottles. It wasn't much, but it meant everything to someone who needed it. I didn't take anything that day. But a week later, when we were running low on peanut butter and the grocery prices had gone up again, I went back and took a small jar. Next time I visited, I brought 2 new ones to replace it. That's how it works. It's not charity, it's community. One Sunday, after church, I noticed another spot behind the community center, a big refrigerator plugged into an outdoor outlet. Inside were milk, fruits, bread, and a sign that said, "Take what you need, share what you can." It's hard to describe the warmth that fills you when you see something like that. It reminds you that kindness still exists in small gestures, quiet corners, and handwritten signs. Over time, these small experiences became part of our family's rhythm. Sometimes on weekends, I'd take Emily and Noah to a swap event or to drop off things we no longer used. They loved it, especially Emily, who would carefully pick out toys she'd outgrown and place them on the kids' table with pride. "Mom," she'd say, "someone's gonna be really happy to get this doll." Noah, on the other hand, loved finding treasures, like the time he spotted a box of Lego pieces at a swap and traded an old puzzle for it. Through these simple moments, I was teaching them something money could never buy: the joy of giving and the gratitude of receiving. Our weekends became less about shopping and more about connecting, talking to neighbors, sharing coffee, and exchanging stories. Sometimes after dinner, Tom would tease, "What did you get for free today?" And I'd laugh. Maybe nothing today, but someone else did, thanks to us. People often think free stuff is about saving money, and yes, it helps. But what I've learned is that it's about so much more. Every free item I've received carries a story. That rice cooker from Laura, it's seen dozens of family dinners. That coffee maker from the swap day, It's brewed hundreds of cups that fueled mornings filled with laughter and chaos. And those pantry shelves at the library, they remind me that no one is truly alone in this world. These things don't just fill a house, they fill a heart. They connect us to people we might never have met otherwise. They remind us that generosity still exists, quietly in every community. Today, our home feels fuller, not just with stuff, but with meaning. Every item tells a story. The rice cooker reminds me of Laura's kindness. The coffee maker reminds me of that sunny swap day. The shelf of books we got from a free curbside box reminds me of all the quiet afternoons spent reading with my kids. Sometimes when I look around our living room, I think about how different it feels now. Not richer, but warmer. Each corner carries a little piece of someone's story. And together, they remind me of one simple truth. Community is the most valuable thing we can ever have. If there's one thing I'd share with other moms out there, it's this. When you receive free items, always check them carefully, clean them well, and use them with gratitude. But most importantly, give back when you can. That toy your child no longer plays with? That pan you replaced last year? They might bring joy or relief to another family nearby. You don't need to have a lot to give. Sometimes the smallest act, a shared meal, a spare item, a kind word, can make someone's day. The things we no longer need might be exactly what someone else is praying for. And as I often tell my kids, what you give away freely always finds its way back to you one way or another. That's my story. It started with a small cardboard sign that said, "Free." And it turned into a journey of connection, kindness, and gratitude, right here, in our quiet little corner of Delaware. Now, every time I drive past a house with a free table out front, I slow down and smile. Because I know it's not just about things. It's about people. It's about community. It's about hope, shared one small gift at a time. Small gift. My story is just one of the many little things that community can bring. What about you? Have you ever received or given away something for free? Share your experience in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to spread the spirit of sharing and smart living to even more people.